I'm Zahir, Kelvin, Abdullah, and this is Nightline. The top stories. ASEAN should not be compelled to take positions against anyone, says Prime Minister. And 6 customs officers among 14 nabbed in 8 million ringgit vape smuggling scandal. ASEAN should not be compelled to take positions against anyone. This call came from the 2025 ASEAN chair. Prime Minister Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim pointed out that Malaysia and ASEAN should continue to engage and attract investors from the United States, Europe and China without being forced to take sides. Anwar said this at the ASEAN plenary session during the World Economic Forum WEF 2025 in Davos, Switzerland. He also reaffirmed Malaysia's and ASEAN's commitment to maintaining neutrality and refraining from interfering in the internal matters of other nations.
As a trading country, Malaysia, as a trading region, we take that position that we should continue to engage and attract American investors, Europe in a more aggressive manner, China, which is very important as our neighbor, and continue to do so with countries Australia, India, etc. And I think this is what we call in ASEAN centrality, that we are able to engage and navigate. Of course, more precarious. The problem is not our problem, is forced upon us, and we should not be compelled to take positions against anyone.
Anwar said that while ASEAN's approach was measured, there was a growing willingness for engagement. The Prime Minister then called for stronger actions to address the ongoing crisis in Myanmar, stressing the need for inclusive governance to restore peace and stability in the region. He also said that even though the crisis in Myanmar was not as contentious as conflicts like Gaza or Ukraine, it had persisted for far too long.
We are not imposing. The critical point is peace must be secured, and you must not be deemed to continue these discriminatory practices or even what was deemed to be violence to be perpetrated against minorities or any groups.
Anwar said ASEAN is not a region in competition with one another, but a community that prioritizes inclusive, sustainable measures that bring mutual benefits. And in a bid to realize ASEAN's vision for the next 20 years, the Prime Minister also stressed the importance of enhancing intra-regional trade and collaboration. Anwar said this in response to a question from WEF Executive Chairman Klaus Schwab about the potential for ASEAN to evolve into a union similar to the European Union, complete with a common currency and internal market. During the special one-on-one exclusive dialogue session, Anwar also acknowledged ASEAN's past successes in geopolitics and diplomacy.
Whether we want to then emerge to become like EU is something that we have not explored. Our advantage is to study EU, the successes and the limitations, and we are not too concerned about the political setup. We are more concerned about the economic collaboration.
The Prime Minister also took the opportunity to share open economic and diplomatic policy. This includes Malaysia's involvement as a partner country in the BRICS bloc.
The Global South have to take a stand because the international financial infrastructure through the IMF needs to reform. United Nations need to reform. We talk about democracy, but we refuse to accept democratic principles and democratic accountability. WTA need to make some adjustments. And that's all they were asking for. We're not going to war. We still work under the present mechanisms. So that's why, to me, BRICS is important.
Earlier at a media briefing at the WEF, Anwar said that Malaysia cannot rely on outdated legislation to address the challenges posed by rapid technological advancements. According to the Prime Minister, Malaysia must instead pursue reforms to foster greater opportunities for international collaboration. The media briefing was on unlocking ASEAN's digital future, driving inclusive growth and global competitiveness. At the session, the Prime Minister underscored the government's commitment to ensuring that legislation keeps pace with global developments.
We take all the latest pieces of legislation all over the world and adjust accordingly and push through. Fortunately, we have two-thirds majority in Parliament. That helps immensely because people will see so the array of things that we need to do.
When asked about unlocking ASEAN's full potential as the chairman for this year, Anwar said all member leaders must continue to craft the correct policies, especially regarding the rapid advancement of new technology.
Our commitment is to make sure that this sort of transmission and also transformation of digital would cover all areas and angles. If these two priorities are achieved, I think it will be a phenomenal feat for ASEAN as a region.
This marks Anwar's first participation in the WEF since assuming office in 2022. On another note, the Prime Minister said that Malaysia is not in a pressing need to adopt nuclear power as the country still has significant potential in solar energy and the ASEAN Power Grid APG. However, Anwar did acknowledge the possibility of exploring nuclear energy, particularly in light of the growing demand for energy driven by massive data centers in development.
The nuclear option is there. I know Thailand, Malaysia, Indonesia have embarked on this, and I'm trying to get us to work together so that we have a better bargaining position.
Anwar added that there had also been suggestions from investors to put up small modular reactors, SMRs. SMRs, which are capable of producing around 300 megawatts of electricity, could be integrated into existing buildings, infrastructures, or connected to the national grid with a relatively smaller footprint and cost. The Cabinet is scheduled to meet this Friday to discuss whether to end toll exemptions during festive seasons starting this year as previously decided. Communications Minister Fahmi Fadzil said the meeting would take place after Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim returns from his overseas trip.
Kerajaan sedang meneliti seperti yang disebut oleh Menteri Kerja Raya semalam, langkah-langkah yang boleh kita ambil untuk mengatasi masalah yang dihadapi oleh rakyat, sama ada dari segi kos sara hidup maupun dari segi kesesakan lalu lintas. Jadi kedua-dua perkara ini penting. InsyaAllah mesyuarat Jemaah Menteri pada minggu ini bila sekembalinya Perdana Menteri dari lawatan luar negara.
Fahmi said this during a media conference at an event in Putrajaya on Wednesday. On Tuesday, Works Minister Datuk Seri Alexander Nantalinggi said that the Cabinet has decided to implement a more targeted approach as an alternative for toll exemptions during festive seasons. He explained that the decision was based during a previous Cabinet meeting and 2024 was the last year for free tolls. Teachers intending to take on part-time jobs must seek approval from the Education Ministry. Its Minister Fadlina Siddiq stated that this requirement is clearly outlined in the existing guidelines.
Pekerjaan yang mereka buat tidak boleh mengganggu kerja hakiki mereka dan harus ada kebenaran lah. Jadi kalau nak menjual online pun mesti ada kebenaran dan tidak boleh dilakukan semasa melaksanakan kerja-kerja hakiki. Jadi pesan saya maknanya tumpu dan fokus kepada PDP kerja sedia ada.
Fadlina said this after attending an event in Kuala Nerus, Terengganu on Wednesday. She also emphasized the ministry's commitment to enhancing the quality of education in the country and urged teachers to stay focused in the classroom to achieve this goal. Fadlina also denied claims that teacher transfer requests were processed more quickly if they were shared on social media. She explained that all transfers must take the educational ecosystem into account, and the ministry's focus remains on spouses living long distances apart, safety, health and other factors related to teachers' welfare. 6 customs officers were among 14 individuals detained by the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission (MACC) for colluding with the syndicate smuggling electronic cigarettes at the Kuala Lumpur International Airport KLIA cargo hub. In the operation, dubbed Op Airways, electronic cigarettes estimated to be worth 8 million ringgit was also seized. The 6 officers were remanded for 4 days along with 6 civilians, including 4 company directors, while another was handed a 5-day remand order at the Putrajaya Magistrates Court on Wednesday. Another company director has been released on MACC bail pending further investigations. All of the suspects were held following raids on warehouses which were carried out at KLIA and Kuala Lumpur on Tuesday. The MACC intercepted 2 lorries leaving the KLIA Cargo Inspection Centre, which led to raids on 2 storage warehouses. Upon inspection, authorities uncovered 32,000 electronic cigarettes in one of the lorries with unpaid taxes estimated at 1.9 million ringgit. Raids on the warehouses then revealed tens of thousands units of electronic cigarettes. The syndicate's modus operandi is by paying enforcement officers thousands of ringgit per container to bypass scanning machines or inspections. In confirming the arrests, MACC Chief Commissioner Tan Sri Azambaki said that the case is being investigated under the MACC Act 2009. Fashion Valley founder Datin Vivi Yusof and her husband Dato Fazaruddin Shah Anwar have claimed trial to charges of misappropriating 8 million ringgit from Khazanah Nasional Berhad and Pemodalan Nasional Berhad (PNB). Both the accused made the plea after the alternative charges were read out before Judge Rosli Ahmad in the Kuala Lumpur Sessions Court on Wednesday. 37-year-old Vivi Sofinas Yusof and Fazaruddin, aged 36, are accused of jointly and dishonestly misappropriating Fashion Valley's investment funds from Khazanah and PNB at a bank in Bukit Damansara on August 21, 2018. The couple has been charged under the Penal Code, which carries a maximum penalty of 5 years imprisonment, caning and a fine upon conviction. The court allowed them to retain the same 100,000 ringgit bail with one surety, which was set in previous proceedings along with additional conditions. Judge Rosli Ahmad then set March 10th for the next case mentioned. On December 5th, the couple pleaded not guilty to charges of criminal breach of trust involving the same amount and companies. The charges are linked to the unauthorized transfer of funds from Fashion Valley to another company without the board of directors' approval. In Kedah, the death of a 61-year-old Ibrahim Maidin and his 23-year-old adopted son, Muhammad Muslim Muhammad Zaini, in a house fire in Alustar on Tuesday has been classified as murder. 5 people had been arrested on Tuesday, with Ibrahim's nephew identified as the main suspect. Kedah Police Chief Datuk Fisol Saleh said that Ibrahim had filed a police report a day before the incident, alleging that his nephew had stolen his mobile phone. However, the report was then retracted before the fire occurred.
Kita dapat lead pada hari yang sama menunjukkan kejadian sepatutnya kemalangan, dia bukan kemalangan. Because maklumat pertama yang kita dapat daripada pelaporan mengatakan ada bau petrol.
Police are currently investigating revenge as a possible motive in the case. The suspects, aged 19 to 53, included a Myanmar national who was living in the house. Checks revealed that 3 of them have criminal records involving narcotics offences. 3 of the 5 victims also tested positive for methamphetamine. All of the suspects are remanded until Monday. Bank Negara has maintained the overnight policy rate OPR on Wednesday at 3%. The decision made through the Monetary Policy Committee MPC remains consistent for 10 consecutive meetings since May 2023. The central bank's first MPC meeting of the year resulted in the decision to maintain the benchmark rate for the country's loan and deposit rates. For the Malaysian economy, the overall growth for 2024 was within expectations. The strength in economic activity is also expected to be sustained this year, driven by resilient domestic expenditure. Employment and wage growth, as well as policy measures, including the upward revision of the minimum wage and civil servant salaries, will support household spending. Malaysia's annual inflation rate for 2024 dropped to 1.8%. According to the Department of Statistics Malaysia, DOSM, this marks a two-year consecutive decline since 2022, which was at 3.3%. Malaysia's inflation moderates to 1.7% in December 2024, with the index point standing at 133.4 against 131.2 in the same month in 2023. In comparison to inflation in other selected countries, inflation in Malaysia was lower than in Vietnam, the Philippines and South Korea. However, the rate was higher than Indonesia and Thailand. Most of the states also recorded inflation below the national inflation level of 1.7% for Pulau Pinang, Selangor, Johor and Sarawak.
How is artificial intelligence transforming industries and redefining Malaysia's economy? What opportunities and strategies can position the nation as a leader in the AI-driven future? Azaria Tagaya speaks with the President of the Technological Association of Malaysia, Tang Chi Kwan, only on Money Matters, this Saturday at 5 p.m. on TV3 and stream on Tonton.
China and Hong Kong stocks fell on Wednesday after US President Donald Trump hinted at new tariffs on Chinese imports, ending a brief reprieve for the markets.
We're thinking about that too. We're talking about a tariff of 10% on China. Probably February 1st is the date we're looking at.
China's blue chip CSI 300 index declined 0.9% by the midday break, heading for what could be its biggest one-day retreat in nearly 2 weeks, while the Shanghai Composite Index lost 0.8%. Hong Kong's benchmark Hang Seng Index fell 1.3%, pulling back from a one-month high. The onshore yuan weakened around 0.2%, despite the midpoint being fixed at over a two-month high by the central bank. Trump on Tuesday said that his administration was discussing imposing a 10% punitive duty on Chinese imports as early as next month. That would put an end to short-lived relief in Tuesday's Asian trading hours after Trump held off announcing any China-specific tariffs on his first day back in office on Monday. National para bowlers continue to deliver at World Championships. Sports after this breather.
Roppongi Class setiap Sabtu dan Ahad 7 malam di Yoshi TV3 dan stream sekarang melalui Tonton.
Kau tak ada hak nak nilai isteri aku.
Dia bukan menantu yang baik.
Saya boleh ikut plan nanti untuk pisah dengan Kau pergi balik sekarang.
Aku nak jumpa suami aku. Dia tak boleh diganggu. Aku akan jaga dia. Habis tu mak mentua kikir serta menantu tak berdosa ke? Aku nak dengan suami aku.
Aku tahu.
Tolong bagi Haila jaga abang. Haila akan datang lagi jumpa abang, okey?
Wanita Milik Kaiden, Isnin hingga Jumaat 7 malam di Akasia TV3.
We're back with sports bowling, the 2025 IBF Para World Championships. Malaysia on a roll at the tournament in Hong Kong as Marcos Chang became the country's second world champion on Wednesday following Abang Yahya Abang Azhar's success. Marcos triumphed in the men's TPB 9 singles at Kai Tak Sports Park Bowling Centre, scoring 1,393 pinfalls. He finished ahead of Hyo Myong Jin's 1,321 pinfalls and Lin Yen Xuan of Taiwan, who raked up 1,283 pinfalls. His victory came on the heels of Abang Yahya's gold medal win in the men's TPB 4 singles. Abang Yahya continued his impressive run by claiming a second gold in the all events and a silver in the men's TPB 4 doubles with Madzi Muhammad Rizwan. Malaysian women's bowlers also excelled, bagging 2 silvers through Nor Amalina Muhammad Musadat in the TPB 10 singles and the duo of Noor Shazwani Marais and Azira Jelani in the TPB 4 doubles. The nation's total medal count at the World Meet now stands at 3 golds and 4 silvers. On to badminton, the 2025 Indonesia Masters. National shuttlers continued their amazing run in Jakarta, with 4 of our representatives storming into the second round on Wednesday. In the women's singles, Kay Latshana fought back from a set down to beat Ukraine's Polina Buvrova 21-23, 21-15, 21-19. The world number 59 will take on the winner of the match between V. Sindhu Pusarla of India and Vietnam's Thuy Linh Nguyen. In the mixed doubles event, Goh Sun Huat Chevron Lai began their campaign with a stunning 21-16, 21-15 victory over Indonesians Dejan Ferdinand Aisyah and Siti Fadia Silva Ramadanti. The world number 4 pair is set to face another Indonesia's pair of Mauran Faza Aisyah, Salsabila Putri Pranata. In another match, world number 18 pair Hu Pangron, Cheng Su-yin also advanced to the last 16, defeating Hong Kong's Lui Chun-wai Fu Chi-yan 21-14, 21-17. Awaiting them in the next round will be India's Dhruv Kapila, Tanisha Crasto. Earlier, mixed doubles Chen Tangji, To Yi-wei easily dispatched French pair Julien Mao, Lea Palomo 21-14, 21-17, despite going through their hectic schedule this season. In the last 16, they will meet local hope of Jafar Hidayatullah, Felicia Pasaribu for a place in the quarters. Meanwhile, it was the end of the road for national singles shuttler Leong Junhao, who still couldn't get past shuttlers from the Great Wall despite stunning China's Asian Games champion Li Shifeng earlier this month. The world number 27 fell short against China's Weng Hongyang, losing 14-21, 13-21 in the opening round. In another match, professional duo Wong Tianxi, Lim Chiu Xian also met the same fate as they were outplayed 13-21, 15-21 by Japan's Hiroki Midorikawa, Natsu Saito. Turning to tennis, the 2025 Australian Open. Defending champion Yannick Sinner was relentless against Alex de Minaur on Wednesday as he booked himself into the semi-finals with a dominant straight sets win. The world number 1 brushed off any concerns about his health with a brutal destruction of home hope de Minaur 6-3, 6-2, 6-1 at the Rod Laver Arena. The Italian, whose Grand Slam breakthrough came in last year's tournament at Melbourne Park, will take on American 21st seed Ben Shelton with his sights on the 3rd major trophy. Earlier, Shelton wore down Italian Lorenzo Sonego 6-4, 7-5, 4-6, 7-6 in a highlight-laden clash at the end of the day's session. Shelton, who is seeking his first Grand Slam title, ensured the United States has players in the men's and women's semis for the first time since Andy Roddick and Serena Williams in 2009. In the women's singles, a rampaging Iga Swiatek stormed into her second Australian Open semi-final with a 6-1, 6-2 demolition of 8th seed Emma Navarro. The triumph at the sun-drenched Rod Laver Arena set up another American matchup with Madison Keys, who overhauled Elina Svitolina 3-6, 6-3, 6-4 in the earlier quarterfinal. Death toll climbs to 28 as new blazes ignite in LA. The details when Nightline returns.
Aku terima nikahnya Nurul Jannah binti Abdullah dengan mas kahwin RM300 tunai.
Tak ada yang kelakar pun sayang dalam soal hidup dan mati ni.
You ingatkan apa yang you sign up masa you melamar I?
Sebab betul I nak kahwin dengan you. I nak you sihat.
Saya rasa bahagia sangat.
Antara Dua Syurga, Minggu Akhir, Jumaat dan Sabtu 9 malam. Di Lestari TV3 dan stream sekarang melalui Tonton.
Rasai vibrasi nada rasa 10 finalis anugerah juara lagu 39 dengan mendapatkan tiket di www.walltix.com.my atau imbas kod QR berikut. Kalau takut sold out, beli tiket sekarang. Hidupkan nada rasa di malam anugerah juara lagu 39 secara langsung di Axiata Arena Ahad 16 Februari 9 malam, eksklusif di TV3 dan stream juga melalui Tonton. Terangkat rasa.
Ada inisiatif mendalamkan dan melebarkan Sungai Kelang sepanjang 56 km.
Saya mula menubuhkan satu pasukan khususnya pemburuan ikan bandaraya.
Kehidupan di dalam sungai dah mula ada balik.
Majalah 3 Kapsul, Sabtu 10 malam di TV3 dan stream sekarang melalui Tonton.
3 identiti, 1 misi. Si ayah seorang perisik. Si ibu pembunuh upah. Dan si anak dengan kuasa telepati. Berpura-pura menjadi keluarga, tetapi ada rahsia yang disembunyikan. Saksikan Spy X Family setiap Ahad 11 malam di TV3 dan stream sekarang melalui Tonton.
Onto the foreign front, U.S. federal employees working in diversity offices must be put on paid leave by Wednesday evening as the new administration of Donald Trump orders for the programs to close. President Trump signed executive orders on Monday and Tuesday that aims to end diversity, equity and inclusion DEI programs within the federal government. A memo from the U.S. Office of Personnel Management on Tuesday evening called for all federal DEI employees to be placed on leave by Wednesday evening. It added the agencies must also submit a written plan for executing a reduction in force action regarding the employees who work in DEI offices. In the meantime, Trump is also directing the Attorney General to create a plan to deter the private sector from adopting or continuing DEI programs. 2 weeks after wildfires erupted in Los Angeles, new fires broke out more than 100 miles south in San Diego. The fires, fueled by powerful Santa Ana winds, have prompted emergency evacuations on Tuesday and forced school closures across the region. More than 200 firefighters are currently battling the Lilac Fire, located just 45 minutes outside San Diego. The fire burned at least 80 acres and has so far destroyed 2 structures. California fire officials report crews have contained approximately 10% of the fire spread, but the situation remains critical. Meanwhile, the death toll from wildfires raging near Los Angeles has risen to 28. Turkish authorities on Wednesday have detained 9 people, including hotel owner, in connection with the deadly fire that claimed the lives of 76 people at a ski resort in the Bolu province. The government appointed 6 prosecutors to lead an investigation into the blaze, believed to have started in the hotel's restaurant section before rapidly spreading around the building. Authorities are also facing growing criticism as witnesses and reports suggest that the hotel's fire detection system failed to operate. Survivors among the 238 registered guests reported that no fire alarms went off during the incident and that they had to navigate the smoke-filled corridors in complete darkness. That concludes Nightline this time around. Before we leave, let's take a look as a trail of 12 dazzling new artworks by artists from across the globe was set up in London for the annual Winter Lights Festival. With that, I'm Zahir with Kelvin and Abdullah. Thank you for watching and stay safe.